For a lot of them, it may be the first time they've been in there. If they haven't, been in a dance recital or whatever it might be, that could be the first time. And especially maybe the first time for something that is presented expressly for their interest and age level and attention span. It's very cool.
The Three Little Pigs are coming to Hayes. It's a production of the popular Wichita Children's Theater in cooperation with the Hayes Arts Council. I'm Becky Kiser, Hayes Post-Eagle radio news reporter. I'm talking with Brenda Meder, now the Director of School Programming for the Hayes Arts Council. We'll also talk about the new Block Party on the Bricks on this episode of the Hayes Post podcast.
Anybody is welcome to come, get into that. But yes, and there's nothing more delightful as you've seen and been at these kind of things, whether you've taken young people or not, but to see it, there's nothing more delightful than to go as an adult, even if it's like, well, I wouldn't have bought a ticket for that, but I'm watching it through the eyes of the children that I'm taking, because so often these kinds of things we do are the first foray for a lot of young people into live professional theater. I think ever since, I started the Arts Council 35 years ago, and I think we've had Wichita Children's Theater coming in every year for, I think, almost all of those years, because they've been in existence for a long time. I know it's been at least 25 years, I am sure, because this company's been around for a long time. They have Wichita Children's Theater and Dance Center in Wichita, but they do have a touring theater component that goes out every fall into late winter. And they're delightful shows, and what's wonderful is they're affordable, they're good, they're wonderful shows. And the first thing I'm going to say, so it'll give people a reason to listen, is that because of the support of our sponsorship, a grant to the Kansas Arts Commission, funding support from the local Kiwanis who've been with this project for decades, and Midwest Energy, who we write a grant to help with support for Beach Schmidt, which we have to pay to utilize. But through the support of all these three sponsors, this event, the public show in the evening, is free. Nice. There is no cost, and it's not because it's not worth it. It's because you just don't need to pay for it, because we took care of business. And so if you've got young people, please come. We are doing the Three Little Pigs.
Oh, a classic.
It is a classic. And they always do a really great spin. It might be like, well, how can you have a 45-minute theater production based on that? But these are light musical theater productions for kids. There is a lot of slapstick and visual, physical humor. And the story always gets expounded on a little bit. So if they cover things, in this case, it's deciding it's time to move out of Mama Pig's house. So they embark on their own, and it's like, okay, we're going to take care of business. Obviously, we know the story. They meet the wolf, and this is a character running around with a bad attitude. We got a lot going on like that in our lives in general. Yes. And so it's like, how do we make this work? How do we get someone to control their anger? How can we become friends and maybe work it all out? So it's the classic story, but wrapped up in these wonderful moments and songs and physical humor that just make it a delight for kids. And in fact, during the day, the evening show is almost sort of the extra on our main purpose with this, is that we will be busing in about, probably 800 kindergarten and first grade students from the schools we serve, Hayes, Ellis, Victoria, Plainville, and Russell, for an afternoon matinee. And so they will see this, kindergarten and first will, but they love bringing families back in the evening, especially, again, when there's no fee involved. And then in the morning, they have another production they're touring with called Schoolhouse Rock Live. Classic
fun.
That,
yes.
A lot of folks grew up on and or know. That's how a lot of people learned about, their government or the way the world works or interesting historical things. And we've had that, all their productions we've usually recycled through every, several years. Things may come back, but it's a wonderful production. That won't have a public show, but we'll be bringing in, I think it's at least 850 fourth and fifth graders, again, from the schools we serve, for a morning show of Schoolhouse Rock Live, same company. In the afternoon, Three Little Pigs. But then in the evening at 6:30, in the Beach Schmidt Performing Arts Center will be this free production of the Three Little Pigs. It's really the perfect show for the really little ones. Anybody's welcome, but even preschoolers, because they'll identify. And again, there's enough physically going on to interest and intrigue and captivate them. And everything's mic'd. You can hear everything. You can see everything. And because it's just open general seating, when families come, it's only open on the floor. The upstairs isn't open for the evening. But families can sit wherever they want. So if it's like, let's sit farther to the back with this one little one who we're not sure how they're going to react, or if the baby's going to be quiet. Some other people have kids and they go, we want to sit at the front. You just sit where you want. We'll open the doors probably by about, 10 after 6, quarter after 6 is when we'll open the doors. Everybody can go in. You just sit where you want. 6:30 will be the show. And then after the show is over, we have a lovely meet and greet in the lobby. And that's actually been one of the most popular and favorite components because for the kids' purposes, these are stars on stage.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we always have this little autograph line and it goes very fast because of the way we have it organized. But you can take pictures with the characters and get their autographs and then head on out the door. So quite frankly, the show, the meet and greet, even getting the kids' coats back on, you will be out the door and in your car probably by 7:30 or a little after. So this doesn't impinge on a school night. I know the kids are out at the end of the week, but I think they're all still in the trenches on Wednesday. But this is an early evening because of our 6:30 curtain start time. But again, free. Thank you to the Hayes Kiwanis Club, the Kansas Arts Commission, and Midwest Energy. And we just want people to know that we're doing it so that they don't miss an opportunity for a wonderful free event like this. That
is just so fantastic that we can offer something like that. And you and I have talked about this before, Brenda, and you mentioned it, that oftentimes this is the first exposure for young people to live theater like that. And I remember, as old as I am, I remember the first time my family went to something like that.
Yeah.
And it just sticks in your mind. It's just bigger than life when you're that age.
It is, absolutely. And as I mentioned, kindergarten and first graders will be seeing it in the afternoon. And so if your little one comes home and says, this was really cool, and they said we can go back and there's really no fee, mommy and daddy or grandma or grandpa, go back with them. They love nothing more than to be the ones who have a leg up on everybody else.
Sure.
Because they've been there. They know Beachman. I'll show you where we sat. Here's where the goods, this is where it is. Look where we were today. There's an excitement about going. It's almost like they're taking you to this exciting theater event. And so if they want to go back, go with them, because it makes them feel even more special to sort of be the ones who know what's going on. And it's almost like they're taking you to the theater. And it's really cool. And then you do get to see it through the eyes of the kids. And the adults enjoy the shows. They're delightful. But seeing it through the eyes of the children that you love and want to take, grab the neighbor kids. If it's like their mom and dad are busy, I'll take them. Again, there really is no strings attached. It really is just a free production.
Oh, fantastic.
Because we want, the Hayes, it's important for the Hayes Arts Council to share these kind of experiences. And if we can do it for free, we work to do that.
Well, we certainly want to thank the sponsors again for doing that. It really is a great event. And, the other thing to think about is, too, great theater in a great theater. It may be the first time they've ever been in Beach Schmidt Performing Arts Center.
And it is for a lot of the young ones. So we always tell the schools, please arrive a little earlier if you can. Seating kindergarten and first grade students, especially once you start getting them up in the balcony, that can be a little tricky. There's a lot of awe-inspired wonderment for some of them, because for a lot of them, it may be the first time they've been in there. If they haven't, been in a dance recital or whatever it might be, that could be the first time. And especially maybe the first time for something that is presented expressly for their interest and age level and attention span. It's very cool.
Well, Brenda, while you're here, we wanted to remind people that there's another event coming up was rescheduled for schools and for the school age kids. Jay and Leslie Cater performing, and they've been around for a long time and very popular when they come to Hayes.
They are. They're wonderful. And we do 2 weeks with Jay and Leslie, getting them again into every one of the elementary schools that I mentioned we serve. And one of the two, they're a husband and wife duo. We've been working with them for, I think like maybe 33 years or something like that. And just came down with a bug. And so we rescheduled their second week. And so November 3rd, 4th, and 5th is when we're going to be finishing up the schools we didn't catch on their first one. And their public performance was actually scheduled for that second week that we had to miss. So on Tuesday, November 4th, we will be having Jay and Leslie at the Hayes Public Library. Again, at 6:30. We really try to pay attention to what's good family timing. Maybe get an early dinner and get the kids home at a good time as well. And so for their 45-minute show, and everybody loves Jay and Leslie. The kids love them. When I walk into the gyms to introduce Jay and Leslie, or they walk in as they're starting to assemble and they see me and Jay and Leslie there, they go nuts. It's like I'm Santa Claus and it's Christmas. And also, a lot of people have grown up on Jay and Leslie. I ran into somebody who was at a soccer game in Wichita a weekend or two ago, and was a student at Washington School, now in his mid to latter 20s. And it's like, he came up to me because he remembered me from those. He remembered Jay and Leslie, remembered the coming to the school and going to Beach Schmidt. And he hasn't been part of that for years. But he had to come up to me, and it was somebody I didn't know, to just talk about how cool those experiences were for him.
That's great. And
Jay and Leslie is one everybody remembers, and they are retiring this year.
Oh, really?
So this is the last time they're moving to Rhode Island to be near their children. They'll keep doing a little bit of what they're doing, but this has been their life's career for the last 40 years. And they're very good at it. But yeah, this is the last hurrah for Kansas for Jay and Leslie. You know, unless there'd be some big event somewhere that they'd come back for. But they'll be living. Home base will be in Rhode Island, so that's not likely to happen. So if you've always loved them and gotten to spend time with them, because the parents who bring the kids, they saw Jay and Leslie in school, and it's still the same Jay and Leslie. But this is the last hurrah for us and Jay and Leslie. So come out and see him. We'll be in the Big Schmidt Gallery Tuesday night, November the 4th, 6:30 p.m. And I think I hit the date on Three Little Pigs. That's next Tuesday. I'm going, did I say the date very much?
Let's make sure. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
And I was
Tuesday
going, did I say that? I think I did. But next Tuesday, the 28th, is the Three Little Pigs, 6:30 in Beach Schmidt. Tuesday, November the 4th at 6:30. It's at the Hayes Public Library in the Schmidt Gallery. And I'll be getting all of this out on Facebook. I just try to do it in a more timely, close to the event fashion so it stays more top of mind. But again, that library thing, that's totally free. No strings attached. We just want people to come and enjoy something really, really special. And again, their big visit, the whole school residency where we hit all these, 11 or 12 elementary schools, again, supported by grants from the Kansas Arts Commission in large part their expenses. So it really makes a difference to be able to get that support from state agencies, and it goes right back into these incredible, great programs in the schools.
There's bunches of them. And as if you didn't have enough going on in between those two dates, it's Halloween.
Yes, and because the Hayes Arts Council has their big, I'm not the director anymore, and there are people both with the administration of the Hayes Arts Council and the committee that's been working on it, and some of our board members, that block party on the bricks on Saturday, November 1st from 3 to 7. You guys, they're really putting some cool stuff together. If you want to see the, potters doing their thing, and weavers and printmakers, painters, there'll be an iron pour, and it's all going to be down there on that 11th Street block between Main and Oak. Very cool. You get tickets for that, though. It is a fundraiser. These cool things that we've been talking about, the art walks everybody knows about, those things have to be paid for. And once the new building's open, there'll be increased expenses. So this is not about a fundraiser for the building. This is a Hayes Arts Council fundraiser to support the various operational expenses that it takes to make things like what we've been talking about happen on an annual basis. So this is something they put together, and it's a totally new project. And like I said, they've been working hard for months and months and months on this. You buy a ticket, you check out our website, the Facebook page or the Hayes Arts Council website. Just type in Hayes Arts Council, our website pops up immediately, and you can get these tickets. And it is $20 a ticket, but then you get to partake in these things, see what's going on. Artists will have work on sale. There's also a wonderful art auction and exhibition in conjunction with this. Some lovely pieces that have been donated, again, that are part of this one single project's fundraising abilities to continue to support what the Hayes Arts Council does. Not where it does it or what the place looks like, but what the Arts Council does and produces. So we really hope people will come out and support that. But since Halloween is the day before, and the Hayes Arts Council's always enjoyed participating in Trick or Treat on the Bricks,
yes, I
said, guys, you're busy. I'll handle that. What the heck? And so come by our annex right there on Main Street across from like Regina's and Simply Charmed, and that annex spot, ground zero on trick or treat time, because instead of doing candy, we have 500 little simple arts and craft packets, one of those wonderful little things we do with our little name on them. But so we try to give the kids something a little different. But yeah, come by and see us. But we'll be in front of the annex. I'm not doing one of the big theatrical settings that I used to do inside, but we'll be out front, probably with a big skeleton and some art and craft packets. So come by the Hayes Arts Council's contribution to Trick or Treat on the Bricks during 3 to 5 on Friday, Halloween Day.
Halloween
and then the
itself.
next day, get those tickets for Block Party on the Bricks. It's a very, very cool event that I think may have some real teeth to be important to the Arts Council for a long time to come.
I think the neatest part about it is seeing the artists in action. I mean,
Yes.
we see the results all the time, which is wonderful, but to see, a little inside peek into how they do something and maybe pick their brains about that, how fun.
Absolutely. And that was exactly their motivation for doing this. Like I said, I get to lay no claim to this project. It's been a bunch of wonderful people really working on it. It's a big committee. And there's a lot of artists on the committee.
Yes.
And so that's this idea evolved. People, it's like, well, we see artists work, but yeah, let's see how they make it. So there'll be, weaving looms set up, and there'll be potter's wheels, and like I said, an iron pour, and oil painters, watercolor painters, and printmaking. There'll be, portable printmaking down there. And the beauty of it is, don't go, well, what if the weather's lousy? I mean, it could be. It's Kansas, who knows? But the beauty of it is, the Hayes Arts Council is those two very large buildings.
Yes.
Not joined together yet. That's a project they're working on. But we've got those two big buildings. So the capability of moving almost everything, probably except the iron pour, indoors exists. So don't let that get in your way. Just know that, it's scheduled to be outside. And then they're working with the local, with the food and beverage vendors that happen to be literally right there in that block, to have some great, munching and drinking opportunities as well. But the tickets in advance are a little cheaper than they will be if you just come down to get in. But just know you're supporting a wonderful event, but also getting to see the backside, of art and how it's made and the people who make it.
Fun. Can't wait for that. Lots of fun things coming up at the
Yes.
Hayes Arts Council. Brenda, thank you for being with us
Thank
today.
you guys for giving me a little extra time this month. Again, come see Three Little Pigs next Tuesday night, 6:30 at Beach Schmidt. You will not regret it.